In an ultimate Minecraft social experiment, I joined 1,000 players scattered across 4 massive islands, each with a unique biome. There was the Plains Island, the Desert Island, the Snow Island, and the Jungle Island. This event was made possible by Ish, and for its duration I was to be part of the Aculon Empire, a massive civilization within the Snow State. Our kingdom was to be ruled by the mighty Emperor Elanialo, Crown Prince Ender, and the Dukes Turkey, Trapex, and Turntap. Beneath them, every citizen would be divided into a cohort of around 10 people, led by a Baron and a Lord, who would act as your family during this event. There would also be a cohort of knights, responsible for keeping our people safe, and a cohort of quartermasters, who would accept resource deposits and redistribute them to other players. I was hired as Lord of Cohort Hotel and reported directly to our Baron Legacy. Our cohort consisted of Legacy and I, Azriel, Ivy, Time 4, Remcoms, Cold Sober Noodles, Wonder Ash, and Nolandra. These people would become my closest allies in the days to come. Confused? Good, because now it's time to sit back, grab your favourite snack, and witness the greatest Minecraft event I have ever been a part of. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you The State Experiment, Season 2. Day 1 was primarily a resource gathering and farming day. Trees and vegetation on the Snow Island were scarce, so most cohorts were instructed to focus on farming in order to feed the entire population of Aculon. And soon enough, after finding only a few measly seeds, our farmers were able to set up a huge farm that would quickly start pumping out bread. I personally spent most of day 1 in the mines, making myself some basic stone tools, and even upgrading to iron towards the end of the day. The most notable thing I saw was this imposter, Stuffed Toast, who seemed to be impersonating our Emperor, who was actually absent for the first few days. In his place stood one of the Dukes, Turkey, who was dubbed the Temperer. Turkey did an absolutely cracking job at ruling our empire in its early days, and he alone was the glue that held Aculon together when its leadership was most fragile. Overall, day 1 was a simple yet vital day, and it left me excited for what was to come. On day 2, my cohort decided to meet up in Oinga Boinga and move to the location where we would be building. And before you ask yourself what the hell I just said, let me show you a map of our glorious Snow State. As you can see, the main Aculon castle would be located in Stina Strum, with most of the city to the south in Oinga Boinga. After we met up, we moved to the east along the Sus Plains, which was where we decided to settle, just south of Balls Valley. On our journey, we met a pair of lonely wanderers, Snowwolf and Echo Song, who we decided to adopt into our cohort, expanding the hotel family even more. Together, we founded Kino Shima, a Japanese-themed sub-faction within the greater Aculon Empire. We quickly got to work, setting up mines, farms, and our first storage area. Azriel even built Kinoshima's first building, this lovely igloo. One thing we had not expected though was that glitched mobs turned out to be a bit of an issue on the first few days, leading us to be especially careful around creepers and skeletons.
Oh god, there's a creeper up there, Ivy, be careful, it's coming down.
Oh wait, hold on, we need to put some torches in here, like right now.
It's turning night.
We need to put some torches in here.
But these mobs ended up being the key to our survival, as Legacy pointed out that spiders would drop string, which we could make into fishing rods to supply us with an infinite amount of fish. So when the night came, we went hunting, and soon enough we were out fishing, and food was no longer a problem for us. After a long, successful day full of progress, the citizens of Kinoshima gathered round the campfire in Azrael's igloo. Morale had never been higher, and my cohort went to sleep that night knowing that our little community was going to be truly special. Or so we thought. Now, day 3 started out on a high note for Cohort Hotel. With our basic infrastructure completed, we could afford to have a bit of fun. Oh, I see it. because he's 1v1ing a child.
This reminds me a lot of me and my father.
What, killing babies?
Officer, I drop-kicked that child in self-defense.
No, I'm the child, dumbass.
Now that we could finally focus on other things than just survival, Ivy started building a lovely little house, and Legacy began to plan out Kinoshima's road system. I myself had been wanting to build a hotel somewhere in Kinoshima, inspired by her cohort's name, an idea which happened to be shared by many. And so, Snowwall started clearing out a massive area where the hotel, which had now become a community project, would be constructed. The plan was to create a huge Japanese-themed hotel, which would be open to all players, with multiple membership tiers and a special state suite that would be reserved specifically for Ish. With all of this planned out, all we needed was a name.
Okay, one more thing. We haven't come up with a name for the hotel.
Actually, yeah, what would you guys want to name it?
Ooh, I want to do something with Lodge, but
Lodge Hotel.
Or how about just the Lodge?
Wait, what about the
Lodge.
Snowtel?
The Snowtel? That's great.
No.
I love that.
I
Snowtel.
love
That's
that.
it. Perfect,
That's
perfect,
it.
perfect.
Amazing.
Hotel.
And so, the Snowtel was born. But just as we were about to begin, disaster struck. Our first member had fallen. Remcoms was dead. We constructed a monument in his honor and mourned the loss of a beloved friend. We would never forget him, and as the sun set on his grave, I promised myself that as our cohort's lord, I wouldn't let any more of my companions die. Despite the tragedy of the day before, on day 4 we were greeted with good news. Today was to be a peaceful build day, exactly what we, a building cohort, needed. This also allowed us to take our minds off the tragic death of Remcoms. It was the moment I'd been waiting for. Time for me to unleash my inner builder. Time to leave my mark on this server. Time to build a house. The build day wasn't only for building, however. We also attended a wedding.
Yeah. Okay, let's go.
Hold on, I'm bringing my boots.
Is this appropriate?
Oh my god!
How are your nipples not fucking freezing?
But this wedding also happened to be the perfect distraction. While Aculon celebrated the love between President Steve and iPixel, a player named Zelia snuck into the Quartermaster's building and attempted to blow up our precious resources. However, he failed to anticipate Aculon's knights patrolling the area, and was apprehended just seconds before he was able to light the fuse. Temperate Turkey summoned us to Aculon Town Square, where he had this to say.
As we see this man before us, he has done an unspeakable act upon our people. And for this, he must pay the price. Anyone who treads on Aculon must be punished accordingly, and he shall set an example. There shall be justice for the quartermasters, there shall be justice for the people, and there should be justice for the pain that he has caused. Zelius, get in the hole. Glory to Aculon.
And just like that, Day 4 ended with a warning to all who dared threaten Aculon and its people. A warning that sent a very clear message. You do not mess with the Aculon Empire. Day 5 was Snowtell Day. Snowwolf had already made the walls for the Snowtell's ground floor. Now it was up to me to make the Japanese-style roof to cement this creation as part of Kinoshima. Our idea for the design was to have 4 main towers with rooms inside of them that would connect at the top, forming the special Frost and Diamond suites, which would all be capped off by the XXL State Suite. Working on the Snowtell was really fun and led to some interesting conversations.
I got a water bucket.
Alright.
This is a bucket.
Did we just say the same thing at the
Yep.
same time?
This is a bucket.
Amazing.
This is a bucket. Dear God, there's more. No.
Gentlemen, synchronize your buckets.
As we were working, we were surprised with 3 parrots, courtesy of Legacy. But not even 5 minutes later,
Alright, I'm on my way up to tame a parrot.
Wait, where's my parrot? They're all gone. The heck?
Wait, my parrot's gone too. Where'd
Wait,
they all
what?
go?
so yeah, that didn't really last very long. After another long day, we travelled to Aculon City for a group screenshot and other shenanigans.
Oh, someone's giving a performance. Let's see shit.
Oh yeah, it's the piano.
Oh, I hear people
He's
hitting
playing
each
the
other.
tequila song. That's
Tequila.
amazing.
Play Freebird. Da 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 da.
So I worked at a Mexican restaurant and they played that at least 7 times a day.
That's amazing.
Okay, quick, get in the boat. We need to go. Get in the boat. We need
Get
to
in the
go.
boat. I found a boat. I'll take it.
No, my boat.
Oh, I'm in the
Oh,
wrong
there's
boat.
your.
Where are you?
I'm in.
Oh, I
Where
see
the
you.
hell's this?
I think
Oh,
you
wait.
live around here.
Okay, I can't get in.
Yeah,
Okay,
but-
we're walking. We're walking. We're just walking.
Yeah, there we go. I got my tank.
We're
Oh,
going
gosh.
home
Oh, drop
now.
my boat.
Everyone, we're going home.
No.
All right,
I am
everyone, get in your
lagging.
tanks. Let's go.
Day 6 was a very important day for the Aculon Empire. After hunting down and executing a wanted terrorist, it was finally time for our true king, Elanulo, to step up and take his rightful place as emperor of our great nation. The entire population of Aculon was invited to his coronation, and it truly was a sight to behold.
Citizens of the Aculon Empire, we have gone through an incredibly difficult trial. Every one of us has made sacrifices, and every one of us has lost friends. But we will march on together, stronger and tougher than before, because the Aculon Empire will not be held down. These harsh conditions have brought us together in a way that no other faction has done, because we've been forced to organize. We've been forced to work together under our great empire. And this empire will last as long as the sun still rises in the morning. Long live the Aculon Empire.
They can't keep getting away with this. We need justice for Steve.
Yo, Magmar, you coming with us?
Yeah, I'll be right there, just give me a minute.
Are you alright?
Don't worry, I'm fine, I promise. Go ahead, I'll catch up.
Okay, well, we'll meet you at home, Magmar.
Don't worry, we aren't going to keep playing by their rules much longer. Go tell the others about this plan, and remember, Canary cannot know about this. Who the hell are you?
Oh, hey, I'm Magmar, Lord of Cohort Hotel. Is everything okay? You seem, angry about something.
Well, of course I'm bloody angry. Have you seen what the Knights have been up to?
Not really, no. What's wrong?
It's all Tuju's fault. Him and his Knights being all high and mighty, thinking they're better than the rest of us. You heard about Pixel from my cohort? His husband Steve died yesterday. The only thing he left behind was his armor for Pixel to remember him by. And then Tuju interrupted the damn funeral to demand that we give him the armor to him. And if we didn't, he would return with a squad of knights to execute us for treason. You've seen the size of our cohort. We have 2 barons, for God's sake, and we're rich as shit. It's us, as a mining cohort, that made Aculon what it is today. It's absolutely disgusting. How dare they blackmail the hardest working cohort into giving them something they have 0 rights to. They couldn't even wait until we were done with the funeral. They're blatantly abusing their power, and nobody is doing a thing about it. Look, I don't want to war, but if they lay a finger on anyone from my cohort again, we will retaliate and leave Aculon for good. I have contacts all over the kingdom. If I leave, I'm taking everyone I can with me.
Part of my issue was Aculon, like, in a weird sense. Like, there's a, what's it called? A Gangwin agreement that Kinoshima and Aculon have, where Kinoshima is still a thing, it's just under Aculon Empire. So it exists within.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why I have the governor role.
Yeah.
But my faction got split up into two, 3, 4 cohorts. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Whale Milk, for example, who is my, like, second in command, is a baron of another cohort.
It'd be so nice. It'd be so nice to actually get everybody back to Kinoshima.
So, kind of just disappointed with how things turned out.
Well, look at it this way. Kinoshima is still its own nation, just within another nation, which is part of the problem. But if Aculon is to fall, like if Elanuel and Turkey were
That's
to die...
a huge if, which is the problem.
As Cohort Hotel went to sleep, I lay awake, conflicted. On the one hand, loyal to Aculon. On the other, appalled by the actions of Tuju and his knights, blatantly abusing their power. If there was ever a time for a peaceful revolution, it was now. Luckily, day 7 seemed to start off fairly well. One of Legacy's friends, Baron Whalemilk of Cohort Kilo, sent some of his men to help us with the Snowtell, as his whole cohort was planning on joining us in Kinoshima eventually. We got some great progress done, and even got started on the main towers. We were doing really well, but as we were working, we were surprised with an ominous warning.
All citizens report to the castle immediately.
We were told that an alarming number of citizens from the jungle state had gathered near Aculon, and it seemed like they were going to attack. Everybody was panicking, the castle was nowhere near complete, and our grand defense plan, the Iron Torch, hadn't even begun construction. And so, all of Aculon sat in the courtyard, on edge, waiting for something to happen. After what felt like an eternity, we were finally told that it was just a false alarm. So Kinoshima left the castle and returned to our sacred village. We took this day as a warning, however. Aculon was nowhere near as prepared for war as we needed to be, so working on the castle and gearing up became a nation-wide priority. The people of Kinoshima were in need of diamonds, so we took to the mines until the sun set on our beautiful village. Day 8 was upon us, but while most of Aculon was still paranoid due to the events of yesterday, I reflected instead upon how far we had come as a cohort. In just a week, we had gone from a basic outpost consisting of a single igloo to an entire village, recognized by Aculon as its own sub-faction, and as a sanctuary for all players should war break out. That was incredible. I was so proud of us. Despite all of this, Alanilo still needed people to work on the castle, so we left Kinoshima and travelled to the Quartermaster's building while Legacy left to communicate with foreign nations. We couldn't wait to get started. All of Aculon was in shock. Turkey, our beloved Temperor, was dead, murdered by our own Emperor Alanilo. I was speechless. How could this have happened? After an agonizing silence, Alanilo finally addressed his people.
Citizens of Aculon, I was recently made aware of a plot from the upper ranks of the Aculon Empire to overthrow my rule, involving our late Duke Turkey. This plot was said to include a violent uprising and an attempt on my life, and so I acted accordingly and executed those responsible, including Turkey. I was unfortunately misled. Turkey's revolution was planned to be peaceful, and thus I would not have met it with violence. It's in times like these where it is imperative that we stick together, and don't let those who seek war and death tear us apart. I know many of you feel the desire to leave our borders after my regrettable actions, but this is exactly what our enemies want. We cannot let them divide us. We cannot let them tear us apart and tear down what we've worked so hard to build. The great empire we built here will not fall, regardless of the circumstances. Long live the Aculon Empire.
Alanilo tried his best to justify his actions, but it was too late. Crown Prince Ender called out to all who were still loyal to Turkey to join him against Alanilo before fleeing the island. Duke Turnsat feared for his safety and disappeared into the snow, never to be seen again, leaving only Duke Trapex at Alanilo's side. Melting and his loyalists took this as a sign and abandoned the snow state for good, seeking refuge on the jungle island with Ender's forces. I was torn. I needed to make a decision, but not just for myself, as to make things worse, the great Shogun Legacy never returned from his voyage, leaving me in charge of the cohort as Kinoshima's daimyo. I needed to make a choice that I didn't want to make, but that night my gut instinct told me to leave. Leave my beloved Aculon, leave Kinoshima, leave the Snowtell. It hurt, but it felt like the right thing to do. The idea that Aculon no longer stood for what it used to was ever growing in my mind, and so I convened with my cohort, and we discussed our plans for the morning.
Magma.
Wait, what the... Turkey? How?
You seem distressed. What's wrong?
I'm just torn. Things haven't been the same since you died. Aculon's in chaos, Legacy's gone, and now my whole cohort's relying on me to make a decision. I don't know what to do.
Magma, when I had to force myself to take the role of Emperor, I too did not know what to do. There were many dangers, many risks, many worries. And yet I knew what they needed. I knew I had to be there, not because I wanted to, but because I had to. Sometimes we don't choose our roles, Magma. The role chooses us. And so now you find yourself in the same predicament I found myself. In a role that you did not choose, but was chosen for you. Your cohort, your family, your friends are now relying on you. They believe in you. They believe in your ability. And just as I had during my run, during my life, during my rise and fall, if you will, I tell you to follow what your heart says best, for it truly knows the right way to go. I'm sure that you shall make the right choice.
I guess you're right. Thank you, Turkey. For everything. But when the morning came around, I just couldn't do it. One of Aculon's spies reported that the newly formed Bastion of Peace, consisting of members of the Jungle State working together with the Aculon defectors, were not just planning a peaceful exit like I had thought, but were rallying their troops for battle and would be storming Aculon City the next morning. This was not what Turkey would have wanted. I calmed my emotions, reconsidered my options, and it became clear to me that leaving was not the right choice. So I gathered my companions in front of Kinoshima's town hall, and we prepared for what was to come next. Citizens of Kinoshima, I regret to inform you that Aculon has gone to war. As you know, our leadership has collapsed, and many people have defected from our great nation, as they have lost trust in our government. I understand that Aculon isn't perfect, but I would rather fight for a flawed empire than burn it to the ground without giving it a second chance. Our empire can still be restored to its former glory, but how do we do that if there is no empire to rebuild? My friends, you have become my family over these past few days, and I don't want to have to bury another valuable member of our cohort. But if you die, I promise you it will be on the field of battle. My friends, we have harnessed the spirit of the Japanese before, when we constructed our village. Now it's time to do so again, this time in combat. Akulon calls for aid, and the samurai of Kinoshima shall answer. For today we fight, not just for Kinoshima, not just for Akulon, but for the entire Snow State, and for peace and unity across all islands. My heart was burning for Akulon. We were going to war, so we needed to prepare. While my cohort stayed in Kinoshima to gather diamonds to prepare for the incoming battle, I was in Akulon City, helping our head builder Zappinubs create the most epic castle I had ever seen in Minecraft. It was a stunning build, the perfect blend between looks and practicality. The castle's great disadvantage? The Iron Torch, an enormous war fortress that would guarantee victory for Akulon. Its impeccable design was perfect for defending our entire military while allowing us to butcher anyone who dared climb its walls. It was time to light the torch and bring glory to Akulon. Nothing would be able to stop us the coming day. But you know, it's a funny thing, building at high altitudes. With the ground so far from beneath your feet, your nerves start to get to you. You start to worry, start to overthink. And I truly did have a lot to think about. Was I making the right choice? Or was Turkey frowning down at me from bird heaven? How would all of this end? Was my cohort going to be okay? How many of them would I even see again after the war? I kept telling myself that I was doing this to keep the peace, but at what cost? How much bloodshed would finally pay the price of peace across the 4 islands? My pulse quickened as the reality of my situation started to settle in. And there I was, 100 blocks high in the sky, my mind racing. All I wanted in that moment was to go home and finish the Snowtell with Snowwolf and the others. Why did all of this have to happen? Why now? I could sense something swelling in my chest, and I was unable to keep it at bay. Yes, it was panic. I tried to control myself, but it was no use. I could feel my hands start to slip, feel my legs shaking, my eyes clouded up, and suddenly... And there I was, dead. The next day, the people of Akulon went to war without me, and fought proudly for their great empire without me. I had failed them all. I had failed my cohort, I had failed Alanulo, I had failed Turkey. All of them were counting on me, and I let them down. It's funny, I thought to myself as I fell. It was like the universe was telling me I wasn't cut out for this. I guess not everyone is meant to be a hero.